Please welcome Mark Thompson.
It won't be long. Here we go. A bit louder, Luca, please. That's it. Thank you. Now, that really was just to illustrate the fact that many years ago, I used to earn my living as a drummer, as a professional drummer. A lucky boy. The phone used to ring, and they used to say, "Can you go and do 6 months out in Tenerife or Marbella?" And a long time ago, I had the chance to join a pretty famous band touring America. I can't tell you who it is unless you come and see me afterwards, because what I can't bear is people who stand up on stage dropping names, as I was saying to Robbie Williams and Mick Jagger the other night. So come and see me afterwards, and I'll give you all the rock and roll gossip you would like. But whilst I was waiting for this fantastic opportunity, I had to get a job. Like lots of musicians, actors, you've got to pay the rent. So I took a job as a milkman for a short while. Now, this story, you'll see where this is going, because it leads on very nicely to what Janie Lee Grace was telling us earlier about the power of powerful PR and how you can harness that for your own businesses. So scribble that down, harness the power of powerful PR. This was my first personal experience of PR. I was out there delivering milk, and I was back at my flat, sort of lunchtime. The phone went, and my mate who used to run a barber shop in Baker Street was on the phone, Daniel, the Frenchman, and he said, Mac, you have to help me get down here as quickly as you can." I told you he was French. And so I dashed down to the salon, and thinking the place was on fire, I wasn't at all sure. I got there, and in the corner, there were a whole bunch of photographers, like Bob, lurking around. In fact, I just went to the loo, and Bob was there in front of the mirror going, "I am beautiful. I am enough." In fact, we took turns to do it. So Daniel ushered me into a chair. He said, don't worry, we're just going to do something to your eyelashes. Don't worry, it's no problem. I said, "Really? Do you have to do this?" Anyway, I lay there, they did their thing, and then the photographers started coming up close to me and going, and I'd be lying there saying, "Where are you guys from?" And the first one said, "I'm from the Standard, mate over there's from Vogue, he's from the Mail." So I said, "They're not really going to use these pictures, are they?" He said, "Who knows, mate, maybe a couple of months' time, next week, slow day, who knows, no idea." I thought nothing more about it until the next morning. I was driving my milk float as the fog lifted over the Kilburn gasworks. At 7 a.m, I skidded into a council estate. And there, up on a balcony, a big open balcony, a woman was standing, and she called down to me and she said, "Oi, Milky, what's your name?" They're a bit rough in North London, some of the... Anyway. And I said, "Thompson, why?" She said, "Yeah, girls, it is him. And she's got the Daily Mail, and there across page 3, first man in the UK to have his eyelashes curled. New treatment, just in from Paris. Loved by French milkmen. I didn't think very much of it. I just dropped some semi-skimmed at the drug dealer's girlfriend at number 28 and made it back home. Well, I hit the button on my answering machine, and I kid you not, I sat there with my head in my hands as just about every person I'd ever met rang up, laughing down the phone at me. Words like ponce and vain were used by several of my ex-army mates. But the point was, if you can find a way of harnessing the power of PR for your businesses, the point Janie made very well is that every morning editors and producers sit there having meetings. What the hell are we going to put in our papers today? What are we going to fill the radio with, the TV, the airtime? They're looking for stories. They give them a good story. Learn to do that, and you'll be surprised the effect it can have. I walked into a business about 5 years ago. It was just two of us working from home in a place in Surrey, And over the last 5 years, we've built it, and I've just sold my 20% earlier this year for a lot more than I paid for it, I'm glad to say. But by the end of that business, we had learnt this trick, and we ended up being front cover story on the Sunday Times magazine across 6 pages. We had BBC broadcasting live from our site. It wasn't in the children's sector, different sector, but you would be surprised if you develop this knack of PR, giving them the kind of stories they want. It's the best free advertising you can get. Okay? That's point number 1. The purpose of this talk really is what I'd wished I'd known 20 years ago, and much of it is directed to business owners, franchisees, people who run their own businesses, as well as employees. How many of you here run your own operation? Either franchisee, proprietor? Okay, great. So hopefully a lot of this will be very useful to you, because I've been where you are. So that was really point number 1, the power of PR, things I'd wish I'd known 20 years ago. So how do you build and grow a small business? Here's some concepts that I would recommend you applying to whatever you're doing. Number 1 is a Japanese business concept called Kaizen, and it's about continuous incremental growth in every department that you do. It comes actually from their manufacturing world. But think of your business, no matter how small, if it's just you, think of yourself as having a sales and marketing operation, accounts, operations, whatever, and look and always think how you can incrementally improve those different departments all the time, okay? Kaizen. Number 2, ideas into action. Get used to not just thinking of something and not just talking about a new idea or a new development, putting it into action. I constantly work with small businesses, and you hear them coming out with these great things, and they just talk it, and then you just hear at the end of the conversation, they kind of drop it. And maybe they pick it up again 6 months later when they talk about it again. Put it into action, find a way, and again, you will see the benefits. Thirdly, if you're in the tuition business, which I guess everyone here is in some form of activity or tuition business, I would say drop the termly fees. I've been talking to Carl Reeder, one of my new partners in the Bear Group venture, which we'll come on to later. And Carl was saying that he's surprised how many businesses in the children's sector are still charging termly. What I thought, this is my own thoughts about charging termly. What you're doing is presenting at the start of every term the parent with the question as to whether they should carry on with you or not. They're thinking either yes, no, and sometimes it will be as fickle as saying to little Johnny, who's 4, 5, 6, whatever, Johnny, do you still enjoy going to whatever it is activity? Johnny might be watching the TV. No, I don't like it anymore, Mummy. That's it, bingo, you just lost a customer as easily as that. So find a way of moving on to standing order or direct debit, okay? So it's just a monthly thing, and then you're not in this situation where they have to think, do we want to carry on with this, okay? It used to be quite hard getting set up to do direct debits with the banks. Work through a bureau, ask your accountant, there's a way of doing it now, okay? Number 4, who here is still paying VAT as part of the children's sector? Anyone? Okay. You don't need to be. I shouldn't probably be saying that. Don't tell HMRC. But talk to accountants, talk to Dennis and Turnbull are one of the authorities on VAT exemption, but other accountants I'm sure are, but that will make a big difference to you. Okay? VAT exemption. And number 5, finally, who considers themselves as being in sales? Who thinks they're in sales? Anyone? Hey, good, right answer, all of you. No hands the other week when I said that to a bunch. But if you're in business, you're selling a product or service, you've got to think you are in sales, okay? And it's often the bit of the business we don't like. Sales is a bit of a dirty word these days. Marketing and PR, they're all cool and trendy. But it's sales, new sales, increased sales that will make the difference to your growth and your company. Here's a quote I like. It's a simple game, complicated by fools. Business is a simple game, complicated by fools. Anyone know who said that? He actually didn't say it about business, to be fair. It was Bill Shankly, legendary manager of Liverpool Football Club. It's a simple game complicated by fools. Business is simple. Bill Gates said, business is pretty simple. Get your sales high, get your costs low, and subtract. Okay? Don't overcomplicate it. And you see me standing here in my suit talking about, sales and profit, and I know for many of you, you're far more focused on the activity you're delivering, the service you're providing, and that's fantastic, that's great. But in my experience, there are too many companies, not everyone, but there are too many companies in this sector that are struggling too hard. And often it's because they're not paying enough attention either to pricing or they're not thinking in terms of profit, okay? And it's really hard work if that's the case. Because I think there are only 3 states a business can be in, whether it's large, medium or small, or even micro business. 3 states a business can be in. Number 1, they're either growing and prospering. Number 2, they're flatlining. Or number 3, they're declining. Obviously 3 is pretty dangerous. 2, flatlining isn't great either. Some people, it suits them. I've just had a load of work done on my house, and there's a bunch of guys working. They are sole traders, they are self-employed, a plasterer. He doesn't want to grow. He doesn't want to employ another guy. He just wants to keep on being paid for doing what he's doing, okay? That's fine. But if you are declining or you're flatlining in a business where you think you should be growing, then I'd say get some help and think about making a plan for growth. This is not a 30-page business plan that you'll spend weeks writing, tuck in a drawer and never read again. A simple plan for growth. There is no reason why you can't be 30% bigger this time next year, 30% more profitable than you are at the moment, okay? There are more experienced people out there who can help you do that, okay? Some of them are in this room. So don't be shy in asking for help. There are lots of ways of different ways of achieving that. So, which just brings me back to the point. Next song, please, Luca. No, it's not that one, mate. Sorry. Poor old Luca. The cheap one. Cheap. Oh, is it, mate? Sorry. Don't worry. Okay, listen, I've given Luca my phone. We had some songs, they're out of sequence. Anyway, forget that. Who remembers that song? You're probably not old enough. You're not as old as me, but anyway. Chirpy, chirpy, cheep, cheep. Yeah, you remember that song? Irritatingly catchy, number 1. Okay, but just keep that in mind and don't be too cheap. You'd be amazed. Come and see me afterwards and I'll show you 2 ways. If you increase the numbers of your students by 15%, and at the same time you increase your take from the individuals either in fees or money, whatever, to 15%, you can double your net profit, okay? Some of these little tricks are a lot easier than you might think. So what's the biggest single objection in any business to raising prices? Any ideas?
Losing customers.
Losing customers, bang on. It's actually the proprietor's fear, usually the business owner's fear, that they will lose customers. You'd be surprised, if your prices go up, you'd be surprised how many customers you can actually afford to lose and still be okay. Okay? So, losing customers is a fear, but in reality, it doesn't happen as much as you might think. All right? So, working together, I've got to say that the CA, the whole concept of the CA is fantastic because issues like low pricing, child protection, working together can all happen now under this umbrella. So I think it's a great thing. And it is, of course, a great privilege to work with children. It's a fantastic business to be in. My mate who lives next door to me has got 2 lovely kids. And as he said, 2 out of 5 isn't bad. It's not a bad ratio. And I was on the sofa the other night, actually, and I really fancied another beer, and I couldn't quite reach the remote for the TV, and I thought, another little kid would be great right now. Just what we need. So it is generally a privilege to work with children. I always enjoyed it. I just want to talk about the funnel. If we're running a business, we have a funnel. obviously, if I was super organised, I'd have a lovely graphic, but I'm just going to ask you to imagine a huge funnel. And in the top of the funnel are inquiries for your business. And they are coming from Facebook, they're coming from your website, they're coming from a newsletter, they're coming from word of mouth. All these inquiries are dipping into the funnel, okay? And they're coming through, and obviously we all know they're either calling you up, they're sending you an email, they're asking about your business. And then hopefully some of them are then going on to make a booking. And then right down at the bottom of the funnel, they're staying loyal, and it's producing revenue. And those loyal customers are then giving you referrals, they're telling their friends, and the word of mouth, that too is feeding the funnel. Everyone got that little image? Yep. Well, the problem with your funnel, if I had a good look at your funnel, I bet, like most funnels, is leaking. You would be surprised where the leaks are. Sometimes I am absolutely staggered how difficult it is with some companies to actually make an inquiry, to actually register some interest in a new service. We had a big building in my last business, and I wanted some roller shutter doors, and it was going to be about a 15 grand spend, so it was a decent thing. I rang 3 companies, as you do. First company answered the phone straight away, surveyor booked the next day. Great. Okay. Next company, very awkward, very difficult, didn't know when they could send somebody. The third company, I'm still waiting to hear from them. Okay, about 18 months ago. So, first of all, be sure that you genuinely are as contactable and reachable as you want to be. Get friends or someone to mystery shop, test it out, okay? And then have a look over that funnel and see where the leaks are, because the first thing you need to do is fix your funnel, okay? And then what you need to do, once you've fixed it, and it'll be a constant job, but afterwards then you need to look at more ways of filling your funnel. More inquiries coming in from different sources. There may be a new stream, a new channel of marketing that you haven't used yet. There's zillions out there. There might be something that isn't working for you. In my last business, we took on some pay-per-click consultants that worked very well for us. I remember going home to my dear old mum in the Cotswolds and trying to explain to her that we'd taken on some pay-per-click consultants. And she said, surely, Mark, you can choose your own paper clips. You don't need consultants for that. Anyway, so the point is there are lots of channels out there, and you need to get a bit fanatical about this. You need to measure where this stuff is coming from and work out your cost per inquiry and then your cost per conversion, picking up a new client. I can only liken it to a gambler needs to know, if they're putting money on different horses, which are the horses that are really coming in and which are the old nags. Okay, don't go wasting your money. A long, long time ago, Henry Ford said that 50% of my advertising budget is completely wasted. I wish I knew to God which 50%. Okay, well, that honestly no longer applies. There are some brilliant digital marketing consultants and companies out there that can help you. You need to be big on Google, all right? You need to know what's really going on at your website, because there are many, many more people looking at your website that are actually making an inquiry, and you can see where they're bouncing off, which pages they're bouncing off. People can help you. Don't expect yourself to become a genuine, in-depth expert at this, right? You probably need help. You know, I've got my head around it a bit, but it constantly changes. Google changes rules from time to time anyway. Danny's in the room here. Danny from Fame Local. She's one of the great marketing people that I've met. I would recommend Danny, but obviously there are other companies out there. A bit like the BBC, I have to say, other companies do apply. So that's a concept that's important. Fix your funnel and then fill your company and know your conversion rates, know what's going on. Some of this stuff might sound obvious to people who've been in business a long time. Somebody said that to me. They said, yeah, your talk's all right, but frankly, it's a bit obvious. And I did say to that person then, why aren't you doing it then? Because I knew for a fact they weren't. And there is stuff that we all know we should be doing. You know, I'm as guilty as anyone, but sometimes we don't for whatever reason. So Let's think about how we can do that. Next one, please, which is the little Dylan track. I'm showing my age again, aren't I? But anyway, it's good. All right. No, not that one. Sorry, so we missed it. It's the next one, the Dylan. Sorry, Luca. Can you see it there? I've probably messed up. I bet it's me. That's it. Loud. Play it loud. It's short, but listen. So what Bob Dylan's telling us there is you've got to serve someone. And I know from running my own little businesses and growing them, often starting at home, that I'll be honest, sometimes I was a really sloppy boss with myself. Okay, I would let myself off the hook. Sometimes I would go for a run in the mornings when I should have been working, or I'd play the piano or whatever. Okay. We can be brilliant with other people, but you've got to serve someone. In small or micro businesses, often we're not accountable to anyone. In big companies, the employee reports to the supervisor, reports to the manager, the director, the CEO, the shareholders. And the shareholder somewhere has to go home and his wife asks where all the money's gone or what's happening with the investment, okay? So we all have to be accountable. And being accountable just in itself can make a massive difference. I know you can see looking at me, I don't go to the gym anything like as much as I should. But when I do go and I do a session with my new personal trainer, who's a huge, scary fella, he makes me sweat and work much, much harder, and the results actually are great. So the mere fact that he is there with his experience and his tips and making me work better just achieves better results. So what I'm saying is find someone to work with and be accountable for. If you don't feel you're accountable at the moment, it will reap great rewards in productivity. And if you're tying that in with your plan for growth and you're moving towards wherever you want to go, you will see a powerful change. And working with somebody, yes, it could be a coach, but it might be a partner. It might be a mastermind group. You can form a group of, say, 4 like-minded peers from different businesses and share some ideas, but also hold each other to account with the plan you want to achieve. Okay? I think we're nearly at the end of my little slot. So I just wanted to say, before we just finish up, we've probably got time for a few questions. Let me just pass these around. Pass the blank cards around if you would. I'm not going to do any magic tricks. But please feel free to scribble a question on the cards, and we can pass those up, because not everyone always wants to put their hands up. Scribble a question you might have on a card if you want to. And I would say, just obviously look to be the best you can be. But that said, we're all, and this again is following up with Jane's talk, which I thought was great, we're all probably better than we give ourselves credit for. As parents, we see a better version of our children than they can see themselves. So encourage yourself, be a good friend to yourself, and that will lead us into the video, Luca, if we can play that. Do us a favour, give Luca a big round of applause. He's the unsung hero of a day like today. And you get idiots like me turning up almost prepared. But we're just going to play a little video, and I want you to watch this, and this follows on with that theme. Okay, let's play that.
It was my choice. And now I will question myself for the next few weeks, maybe months.
We had an option of 2 pathways to walk, and they led to 2 doorways. It was a bit confronting, actually, to be honest, to see these big signs and feeling like you had to choose and be self-conscious of how you perceive yourself and perhaps if it lines up with how the rest of the world perceives you.
I went through the average door.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I didn't even hesitate.
漂亮对我的概念来说，就是像明星那种遥不可及的那种。我走的是一般。
Mas eu acho que é mais porque eu me arrependi da escolha porque era diferente do que eu vivo, é diferente do que eu sou.
Am I choosing because of what's constantly bombarded at me, what I'm being told that I should accept, or am I choosing because that's what I really believe?
I walked into that door which said average and I didn't feel really good after that because obviously I had rated myself average and nobody else.
Todos os dias eu passo pela porta comum e ontem foi um dia único e eu optei por passar pelo bonita.
I wanted to go through the average door, but my mum just pulled me over to the beautiful door.
It was quite a triumphant feeling. It was like telling the world, I think I'm beautiful.
I just wish more young women realized it.
要是再给我一次机会走那扇门的话，我觉得我应该会选很美的扇门。
I think I would walk through the beautiful door.
Acho que a porta bonita tá completamente aberta pra mim.
Maybe I could walk in that door.
You can.
Next time I look into the mirror, I will see somebody really beautiful looking back at me.
Beautiful is a great word. So why not see what's on the other side of that?
Okay, thank you very much indeed. That's it from me. We've out of time. I've been talking too long. So if you have written a question on a card, do me a favour, just bring it to me. We're over on the stand there. I think the CA is a fantastic idea. I do get stroppy emails from the CAA asking me stuff, but that's a different CA. That's a Civil Aviation Authority. And I prefer this CA, actually. Anyway, thanks very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.